Veterans, our hometown heroes. Tonight, their stories of sacrifice, courage, camaraderie, and patriotism. Local 5 is proud to bring you Salute to Veterans, honoring those who served.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us for Local 5 Salute to Veterans. I'm military mom Michelle McCormack, whose son is currently deployed with the U.S. Air Force.
And I'm Tom Zalaski. Tonight, to celebrate Veterans Day, we want to share what's happening here in Northeast Wisconsin and all around the country to say thank you to the veterans who defend our freedom.
It is so important to say thank you.
It is, and this is the 104th observance this year of Veterans Day, originally known as Armistice Day.
The observation of the holiday began 1 year after the end of World War I, when hostilities stopped at the 11th hour of the 11th day on the 11th month in 1918. And that's when the armistice with Germany went into effect. In 1938, it became a legal holiday, and then at the urging of veterans groups was changed from Armistice to Veterans Day and became a federal holiday in 1954. Celebrations with parades and color guard salutes take place all over the country, including here in Northeast Wisconsin.
So with that, we want to get into the stories to honor our veterans. First, though, we want to show you the salute of the Vietnam Veterans of America 224 Honor Guard at the Brown County Veterans Memorial.
Detail, Ted Hook! Color guard, post colors!
Detail, forward, have said, hurt! Left, 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 right, left, 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 right, left, 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 right, left, detail, halt!
Rifle, detail, port, arms!
Ready! Fight! Ready! Fight! Ready!
Detail, harder, arms!
That is Echo Taps, always very special. The Vietnam Veterans of America, the only national veterans organization congressionally chartered and exclusively dedicated to Vietnam-era veterans as well as their families. Well, we have a whole lot of stories to tell you coming up on Local 5 Salute to Veterans.
An Air Force veteran who wrote a children's book. Local 5's Caitlin Corbett is standing by with that story right after the break.
I had joined the Air Force in 1978, and like most, I was searching for something and not really knowing what that was. But at some point, like all of us, I made that transition to a unique group of individuals who would actually do anything it took to support this great country of ours. All of us took the same oath. I do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, both foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, and that I will obey the orders of the President of the United States and the orders of the officers appointed over me according to the Uniform Code of Military Justice. So help me God. On this Veterans Day, when you see the American flag, remember that it was a veteran that helped put her up there, and that the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, and Coast Guard will all work together to keep her up there. To all our veterans, both past and present, thank you for keeping the most recognized symbol of freedom in the entire world flying high.
Welcome back to our Salute to Veterans special. Here at Local 5, we have a special weekly segment. It honors veterans who live here in Northeast Wisconsin.
Caitlin Corbett is here to introduce us to the first hometown hero of the night. Caitlin.
Yeah, thank you, Tom and Michelle. This Air Force veteran wears many hats, being a mother, a veteran, and a children's author. Graciela Tiscareño Sato shared her story with us in August and now tells us how her journey through the military helped her accomplish her American dream.
Never heard of it. Yeah, when your mom and dad are from Mexico and you're a kid of immigrants, nobody in your family served. So it was a foreign concept.
Born just over the border in El Paso, Texas, Graciela Tiscareño Sato was the eldest of 5 children born to first-generation immigrants. Going to school in northern Colorado, she learned early on what the path to her American dream would look like.
And they all would go to Paris and Austria and Germany and Hawaii for vacations. And I was like, I want to travel, but we always packed the car and went to Mexico in a car. Right? So the way it came about was after visiting their houses and noticing that what they all had in common to be able to travel is college-educated parents, I said, so how can I go to college?
Graciela wondered, how could she someday take her children on vacations to Europe? Graciela found that answer in an unexpected place, the high school's guidance counselor and her husband, a major in the U.S. Air Force. He recommended the Air Force ROTC scholarship. Graciela packed her bags. One of 32 in the UC Berkeley ROTC program, the only woman and the only Latina, Graciela had finally earned her wings and a degree in environmental design. From there, her career took flight. Deploying to 4 continents over 9 years, a senior instructor and crew member aboard an aerial refueling tanker, Graciela realized how far she'd come.
And that first trip is where it really started to dawn on me what a special thing I was doing and how bizarre it was that I was doing it, coming from where I came from.
There begins Graciela's next chapter, Captain Mama, a name inspired by her youngest son after seeing her in uniform for the first time.
Okay, high five. Good night, little guy. What do you say?
Bye, Captain Mama.
Good night, Captain Baby Boy. I said, oh my goodness, has anybody ever written a book in English and Spanish where mom's flying an airplane? None. So now I know what I need to do.
But the Captain Mama book series is about much more than just mothers flying planes.
If we do literature in 2 languages and we start having those conversations early on, then millions more kids can imagine that potential for themselves.
Can imagine that a little girl whose parents immigrated to the U.S. with a dream can do anything she sets her mind to.
So know that you can. Do not believe the people who tell you that you can't is as important. And then understand that with mentorship, you will be able to do it because we've already done it. And then so that's it. It's be proactive and go get it.
The Captain Mama book series currently has 3 books on sale, and they can all be purchased through online book distributors such as Amazon or Barnes & Noble. You can also place an order on the website and the phone number listed below. Tom and Michelle, back to you.
Thank you, Caitlin. Now from the written word to song.
There's a group using songs to help tell the stories of veterans, and they recently made a stop in Northeast Wisconsin. Operation Song pairs veterans with songwriters to put the story of the veterans to lyrics. And a singer who helped them do that was none other than the singer from the band Creed. That is Scott Stapp. He says that with this project, it helps people heal, and it matched up well with why he got into creating music.
These guys should get in the music scene because their stories just write the songs themselves. As I sat and listened, I was like, hey, slow down, man. There's so many good things you're telling me that I can use for lyrics to put to music that it was just came instantly. So the stories are so impactful.
And it all culminated with a concert performance by the veterans at the Epic Events Center. Now, elsewhere in the music world, a Grammy-nominated hip-hop artist and some veterans are using the platform to help other veterans.
B. Taylor is a Navy veteran who transitioned to a career in the music industry when his service was up, but he still wanted to help fellow veterans. Through his connections in the music industry, he started the One Life organization, a nonprofit that helps active duty military and veterans treat PTSD and depression through sports and music.
Please don't let the American people forget who we are. I might not come back, and if I do, I might be messed up, but you have a platform. Please don't let them forget who I am.
And one of the people the organization is helping is bobsledder Riley T-Jack, who is working towards becoming the first woman Marine in the Olympics in 2026. After the break, those scenes at the airport greeting veterans never get old.
We take a look at one of the most recent Old Glory honor flights and talk with the organization's executive director after the break.
Salute to Veterans is proudly presented by Window World, Access, and the Cottages Assisted Living and Memory Care.
Welcome back to Local 5 Salute to Veterans. One of the ways that we honor our military here in Northeast Wisconsin is with the Old Glory Honor Flight.
Yeah, that group takes them to Washington, and then the vets visit the monuments that honor their service. Local 5's Paul Stino was there when the latest flight returned home at Appleton International Airport.
Rolling out the red carpet for those who deserve nothing less than a hero's welcome.
If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be where we are right now.
98 veterans returned from a one-day Old Glory honor flight to Washington, D.C. to see the monuments and memorials constructed in their honor. They returned to a packed Appleton International Airport filled with cheering, waving American flags, and signs saying thank you. Arriving at the airport to chants of Bernie, Bernard Depre is the only World War II veteran on the trip. He said initially he did not want to go, but now that he's back,
it was very much worth it. I made a lot of friends today that I didn't have.
The honor flight included 20 Hmong veterans. When the Vietnam War spread into Laos, the CIA recruited Hmong people living there to help them fight the war.
To fight for democracy and for our country, for freedom. That's an important thing. I would like to let everybody know about our history.
The honor flight and the red carpet treatment at the airport, an opportunity to make sure that no veterans' contributions are overlooked or forgotten. In Greenville, Paul Stino, Local 5 News.
Thank you, Paul, and we're honored to welcome now the Executive Director of the Old Glory Honor Flight, Diane McDonald. Thank you for being with us here tonight.
You're welcome.
And
thank you.
Oh, no, thank you for all you do for our veterans. You have been Executive Director since 2020.
Yes.
Is there any special connection, reason why you got involved?
Well, I was part of the small group that started the organization 14 years ago, back in 2009, when we were taking our World War II veterans out to D.C. on that very first honor flight, and we've been involved ever since.
So since 2009, you've been running the flights. You've run 5,700 people,
Yes.
approximately, in that amount of time. And you rely on donations. Where's the money coming from?
Well, the money is coming from this generous community. Businesses, individuals, civic groups, our veteran organizations have come out in droves to help us honor our mission of thanking our veterans.
In Paul Stino's report about the October flight, we had the veterans, 78 passengers, 20 were Hmong Vietnam veterans. Why was it so important to make sure they were included?
Well, we wanted to shed some light on our Hmong veterans. They were recruited by the CIA back during the Vietnam War, and they've never received any recognition. So for us to highlight those 20 veterans really meant the world to them, and it meant a whole lot to us as well.
Sometimes when we see these vets, videotape of them in Washington, it almost looks as though they really weren't prepared for what was going to happen to them. And it was almost like a long-held release once they got there. Is that the impression that you get?
Absolutely. So our veterans range in age from 65 all the way up to 100. So with our 65th mission under our belt, many of the veterans know kind of what's coming, but I don't think anything can prepare them for what they're about to see at the airport and then certainly at their memorials in Washington, D.C.
Well, Diane, we love those scenes of the welcome back at the airport after the trip to then return to your home. There really is no way to prepare the veterans for that wave of emotion, huh?
There's not. I mean, I'm there as well, and I still get overcome with emotion seeing our community come out, support our veterans, waving their flags, giving those kisses and hugs. Our veterans so appreciate that, and they really deserve it. After all these years, it's one way that we can make a meaningful impression, and really a perfect cap to the end of a really great day for them.
It's a whole day of emotions, but tell me what happens on that flight home when you do what you call mail call.
Well, mail call is a throwback, and certainly it's been a surprise, but after all this time, I think our veterans sort of know what's going on. But again, once they're part of it, I don't think they could have experienced, they wouldn't understand the experience.
So what happens?
So family and friends, they write cards and letters to our veterans to say thank you and say appreciative things of their service. And we give those cards and letters to those veterans on the flight home.
In fact, you have the motto, it's never too late to say thank you. So to anybody watching, you can say thank you in your own way.
Absolutely. So you can volunteer with us, you can participate in mail call, you can sign up to be a guardian on one of the flights, and you can certainly help us recruit our veterans to get them on a flight.
And your flights, up until now, they've all gone to Washington. You're going to switch gears. You're going to go to New York. What's the reasoning behind that?
Well, Old Glory Honor Flight, we love a special mission. We took Vietnam veterans back to Vietnam in 2019. We've taken Pearl Harbor survivors back to Pearl Harbor. This was another way for us to say thank you, which was a mission of healing with our veterans who served during the global war on terrorism.
And I think it's healing for all of us at home, too, who sometimes feel inadequate when we think of the awesome responsibility it is to serve our country.
How can people donate? How can people give money?
They can go right to our website, oldgloryhonorflight.org. We're happy to assist with that. We certainly need your donations to keep these flights going.
Yeah. Diane McDonald, what a joy to have you here today.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks so very much. When we come back, much more to come. After the break, a look at the story of another hometown hero who started not one, but two businesses after his time in the service.
Welcome back to Local 5 Salute to Veterans Special. Tonight we are sharing stories of people and veterans helping veterans.
And that includes Appleton firefighter Corey Asmus, who at this year's Fox Cities Marathon ran that entire marathon with a 100-pound backpack strapped to his back. The Marine veteran says the purpose of running with this pack was to raise money and spread awareness for veterans' cancer.
I'm glad I was able to help as much as I could, and now it's just, that was yesterday, and now, what's tomorrow kind of thing. We gotta, I guess, it doesn't end here, we gotta keep going.
And get this, Asmus set the unofficial fastest marathon time with a 100-pound backpack, and more recently was named a 2023 Responder of the Year in Madison. And speaking of purpose, some veterans, they look for a purpose after their time in the service.
For one hometown hero, he ended up starting not one, but two businesses here in Northeast Wisconsin. Local 5's Caitlin Corbett joins us once again with more. Caitlin?
Tom and Michelle, this hometown hero is one of 10 kids and the son of an Air Force father. Now he's an Army veteran, a father, and an entrepreneur. James Long has made the most of his life after serving our country, and now he's encouraging other veterans to find their passion and their strength.
From a large family, you're going to either go the military route or try to get a full ride to school. That was kind of one of those things. My parents were like, hey, we can't because we're providing for 10. So we kind of always knew that.
A father in the Air Force and 9 siblings to grow up with, you could say the military mindset was instilled in James Long early on.
Just knowing that there was more out there that we could do and really provide a service to something greater than ourselves.
So in 2005, when Long graduated high school, he earned a nomination to go to West Point. From there, he was stationed at Fort Hood, the 20th Engineer Battalion, but not for long.
I arrived in 2011, and I spent less than a month again at my first base, and then I was on a plane and downrange.
Long would deploy to Afghanistan twice, once with the Army and once with the Texas National Guard. But it was that second deployment where Long spent time helping train Afghan leadership to become more self-sufficient that he realized what his life after the service might look like.
Hugely different, very rewarding. It's kind of helped me understand what I wanted to do with my life in general. It's like, I love doing that. So working with people, helping them, it's kind of led to me where I'm at today.
After 8.5 years in the military, Long wasn't sure where civilian life would take him. No more routine, no more orders. Long now had to find that structure for himself and a way to continue helping others. He did that through something he started in the military, CrossFit.
Doing that there helped me realize that that's still the same community I could relate to when I got out. So if I didn't have that, I don't know where I'd be. Maybe I'd be in a bar and I wouldn't be healthy anymore. I'd take my, that anxiety, the mental, the health, kind of the things that I kind of bottle up, and I would have gone into a different outlet.
The only bar Long is hitting now is the pull-up bar. He and his wife started Bad Batch CrossFit in Kaukauna and Fox Valley Meal Prep in Little Chute. Part of their mission is to give back to veterans. Bad Batch CrossFit recently became a member of Lift for the 22, a nonprofit that provides resources for veterans through support and wellness. Because for Long, it's all about passion with a purpose.
Karma, maybe? I don't know if it's karma. I believe that if you give good out in the world, good will come back. That's my why. Like, I just want to keep doing good for that community because, again, people are never going to fully understand it. But if there's businesses and communities that are help bringing that awareness still, I want to keep doing that. And I don't think that'll ever stop.
Bad Batch CrossFit holds a variety of different classes and hosts an open gym. They're located on 384 Farmland Drive in Kaukauna, and you can learn more about Fox Valley Meal Prep by checking out their website. Tom and Michelle, back to you.
Thank you so much, Caitlin. And after the break, how young people are honoring those who served.
The special tribute at Oshkosh North High School that students built on their campus.
Welcome back to Local 5 Salute to Veterans. It's absolutely stirring when our youngest generation pays tribute to servicemen and women.
Local 5's Paul Stino shows us the creation of the Veterans Courtyard at Oshkosh North High School.
Flags waving in the wind, the newest addition above Oshkosh North High School's Veterans Courtyard.
What's it like to look over your shoulder and see a project that you've worked so hard on kind of be complete now?
It brings a warm feeling to me that we can show our gratitude to those who have served.
Carson Steinbeck, Annabelle Mitchell, and some of their classmates helped to secure community sponsors and donors to raise money to revamp the Veterans Courtyard with flagpoles and plaques.
They serve a huge part in our world and our community in Oshkosh, at Oshkosh North High School. They really should be well known because of the service they've done for our country.
There was a ceremony to celebrate the completion of the project. Each student introducing the people that would help raise the 9 flags for the first time. Several dozen local veterans were in attendance.
It's great to see the younger generation stepping up and respecting us for what we did for our country.
What do you want anybody that walks by the flagpoles to think about when they see this?
Just those who are serving and have served.
In Oshkosh, Paul Stino, Local 5 News.
Thank you, Paul. Students in the communities program at Oshkosh North High School were the ones who helped to build that project. All right, next we meet a veteran who, after 26 years in the Air Force, he now runs a small family farm.
I caught up with Ryan Sullivan at the Revolution Market in Ashwaubenon, where he sets up shop for their Friday family indoor farmers market. He says a special military grant for those interested in farming helped him and his wife start Sullivan Family Farm in Manitowoc. They specialize in grass-fed beef and lamb and produce fresh veggies all year long. They also offer honey in all varieties.
Well, the advantage coming here,
The vegetable products I bring in, these Swiss chard, the lettuce mixes that we had, the heads of lettuce, these were harvested this morning.
You can find the Sullivan Farm booth every Friday afternoon at the public market along Holmgren Way across from the Ashwaubenon Village Hall. And coming up next, a hometown hero who never let a service injury keep him down.
And it was through the help of other veterans, his bike on the road, and the old Patch Adams quote, laughter is the best medicine.
Welcome back to Local 5 Salute to Veterans Special. We are so grateful to the many veterans who share their stories, sometimes for the first time, for our weekly Hometown Heroes reports.
Yeah, especially when it's a story that involved difficult challenges. Caitlin joins us now once again with a story about overcoming service-related injuries. Caitlin.
Yeah, Tom and Michelle, this hometown hero told me himself that laughter and finding his passion helped him heal after being injured in an attack overseas. Derek Gagne faced some of the toughest moments in serving our country, but it's his positive outlook that makes his story worth sharing.
When you look at Derek Gagne, you can see that nothing holds him back. From earning a scholarship in high school to play basketball at UW-Madison despite standing just under 6 feet, to following his dream and joining the Army National Guard at just 17.
My stepdad's brother died in Vietnam, so I heard stories about it. It made you feel good, even though, you know, what happened, but you still felt good about it. It made you feel like that's what you're supposed to do, and it's something I want to do since I was little.
In 2006, while going to school, playing basketball, and finishing basic training, Gagne learned his military police unit would soon be deploying to southeast Baghdad.
Oh, that's what I joined for. I didn't join to sit at home and sit on the sidelines. I always wanted to be up front and do what needs to be done.
Just 4 months into deployment, Gagne's life would change when he and his team were hit by an Energy Force projectile. Blinded, seriously injured, and unable to tell the gravity of the situation, Gagne jumped into action to drag his team leader to safety. They were the only two to survive of the group.
So you have to take your mind off and think about something else, and then start feeling, once you get a safe point of view of what people and what things you have, and then start feeling and trying to diagnose what's up next.
2 Purple Hearts and now an amputee, all at the age of 19. But it never stopped Gagne.
In your mind, I should be able to do this, should be able to do that. And it was a lull for like 3 to 5 years of trying to sort life out. I always figured humor is the best way to get through everything, you know, the old Patch Adams quote, you know, laughter is the best medicine. Well, that's what I did. And if I can't make fun of myself, no one else can take that from me then, you know.
Gagne did sort his life out, volunteering counseling at the VA, got into car racing, and back to a hobby that he had before the military, riding motorcycles. Gagne was recently gifted this bike from the nonprofit Hogs for Heroes, a group aiming to help vets find therapy through riding. And for Gagne, that's exactly what it is.
Motorcycling always has, because it helps with depth perception, helps me free my mind and have time to think. When you're on the road, you're focusing on driving and staying safe, but it gives your mind some time to relax and think and process without any interruption.
Gagne lives his life without limits, and he wants his story to help others do the same.
Just talk about it, because no matter what, the more you talk about it, the easier it is. People say it's a cliche, but it's not. Yeah, the first couple times it doesn't feel like it does nothing. Then afterwards, if you keep talking, keep expressing your feelings, actually letting the feelings out, no matter what they are, anger, hurt, whatever, just do it. It'll help no matter what, and trust that someone cares.
Hogs for Heroes has been raising money and helping wounded veterans heal mentally and physically since 2014. Tom and Michelle, back over to you.
Caitlin, just an incredible story. Thank you. For many members of the military, transitioning back to civilian life can be just as challenging as serving.
So let's take you to California, where there's an art program that is geared toward military members and their families. The Veterans Art Project, or Vet Art, gives veterans a way to express themselves and what's eating at them inside. It more than likely comes out through the piece of art that they're working on.
that's when, as an art therapist, I have to be really mindful of what they're sharing because they may or may not be aware of it. And that's the opportunity that I have to process what is actually happening in that art piece.
It's a free class, and they focus on ceramics, including mold making, mosaics, and even glass casting. Well, coming up next, we talk with the Brown County Veterans Service Office.
We'll take a look at the resources for veterans here in our own backyard when our Salute to Veterans comes right back.
Welcome back to Local 5 Salute to Veterans. With us right now is a veteran that every veteran really should know.
Joe Aulick from Brown County Veterans Service Office joins us tonight. He is the longest serving county veteran service officer in the state of Wisconsin.
25 years.
Holy cow. Thank you for your service both in the Air Force and then now to our veterans.
Thank you.
For those who are not aware of what you do, though, tell us about the office. What's the mission? Who can access your services?
Basic mission, connecting veterans with benefits, with VA benefits. That's our mission. So that can be from disability compensation to a wartime era pension that helps offset medical expenses to education, and it just blossoms from there.
Joe, do you sometimes feel like that lone voice in the woods? You know, do veterans know what's available to them and know you're there for them?
Many veterans are not aware of what's available to them. Statistics tell us well over 50% of the veteran population is unaware of their benefits.
50%?
Yeah, 50%. So we're always doing outreach as much as we can and trying to connect those veterans with their benefits.
Well, it's such a timely service that you have now a housing loan program. What's going on with that, and what are the other critical programs that you think people need to know about right now?
Well, of course, you got your VA home loan, as you mentioned. Back in August of 22, they passed the PACT Act. That was major legislation. That was for Afghanistan and Iraq veterans exposed to the burn pits. And there's 32 cancers connect to that legislation, and also lung conditions. They also added Agent Orange countries, besides Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, and Guam, and those different areas that now they recognize exposed to Agent Orange. And those veterans, if they have conditions, there's over 55 conditions connected to Agent Orange, they can apply for disability benefits.
Some of these numbers are just staggering. We've got 390,000 veterans just here
in Wisconsin,
in the state of Wisconsin. 15,000 just right here in
Brown
County. 5,000 widows. Those benefits are just not for the vets. They're also for the widows as well. And you have referred to these veterans, and I quote here, as the silent sufferers.
Yes.
What did you mean by that?
Well, as in our previous segments, he talked about talking about it. So many of the veterans don't talk about their service. They don't talk about the dark things that maybe have happened in the service. And so they silently suffer when there's benefits available. There's free counseling available, there's VA health care available, and then for the surviving spouses, if they're a veteran that they were married to passed from a service-connected disability, they can get benefits, payments, and health care and things like that.
You know, so often we hear lawmakers talk about the importance of investing in our veterans. Has there been new money that's come through, either state or federally, that's really going to help here in Northeast Wisconsin?
Yeah, I'm going to circle back to that PACT Act legislation, and then I also want to mention the Camp Lejeune legislation that was passed, because Camp Lejeune had a lot of toxic water, and veterans that were stationed there, there's 9 conditions connected to that. So that's where the money is coming from, is legislation's being put in so they can connect with these benefits and pay out these benefits.
Now, when you said almost 50% of the veterans out there don't know what's available to them, what about the veterans who are out there and they kind of know what's available to them, but they're sitting there going, I'm not going to take anything from anybody. Well, they're too proud.
Right.
What do you say to them?
I say that our fellow veterans fought and served to obtain these benefits and these entitlements, and they should reach out to their county veteran service officer or their tribal veteran service officer. There's 13 tribes in Wisconsin that has a tribal veteran service officer, and review their benefits and go after those things that they're entitled to.
But I imagine that for some, technology can be a barrier, or because certain services come from one program, other services come from another program to create a complete support network. So that can get frustrating for folks. How can they get help with that?
That's where they call their county veteran service officer or their tribal veteran service officer. All they have to do is make that phone call. Especially in Brown County, we do over 90% of our work right over the phone. So I always say, turn on the TV, sit in your lounge chair, give us a call, and we'll file for your benefits.
And that number is?
920-448-4450.
And our veterans here in Brown County, what a great economic impact they have. Did I read $400 million?
$400 million, yes. Yep. That's how much.
How does that figure get arrived at?
So total VA benefits that come into Brown County, about $277 million, just VA benefits. And compensation alone is about $70 million. So that money comes into the veterans' pockets. They go out and buy goods and services with that, houses and cars, and pay the bills and things like that. So that has an economic impact in Brown County alone.
And I think when we talk about the military community here in Northeast Wisconsin, correct me if I'm wrong, but from my exposure, it's not all sitting around and talking about, our time in the service, either griping about it or sharing stories. It's really trying to brainstorm with like-minded people to come with a path forward.
Right. So, and that's why you get many veteran service organizations that reach out to the community and do things within the community that is a real positive thing. So veterans can, not sit in their houses and let those four walls come in. They can get out in the community, volunteer with those organizations, and improve the quality of their life.
And Joe, you personally, you're always at the phone.
Pretty much.
If somebody calls, it's you.
Right. It's myself, and I have 4 staff also that were answering the phone. So we average about 76 phone calls a day.
A day?
Yeah, and we're filing about 5.7 claims every day.
What are these people asking you when they call you? What are they calling for?
Some are calling about VA health care, or they want to file for disabilities. We're getting more and more Vietnam veterans. If you can imagine, those who have never filed, they're still calling the office, and we're filing claims.
My goodness, from the Vietnam conflict.
From the Vietnam era, right. I filed 4 Vietnam claims last week.
Are we any better, though, with our veterans from the Middle East conflicts, Afghanistan and Iraq? I think sometimes I often hear them say, listen, I'm nothing compared to the WW2 guys. And I say, would you stop that?
Right,
would you please give Joe a call?
So
how are we doing?
I think we're doing better. The VA messaging is improving because they're doing a lot of email, a lot of Facebook things, a lot of social media, if you want to call that. And they're trying to connect with that, newer, younger veteran, and they're doing a better job at it. And we're seeing more commercials on TV, as you probably have seen all the Camp Lejeune attorney commercials on TV. Right. That just alone, even those are attorneys advertising, it's creating activity in our offices, and people are calling.
Yeah, but make sure you call Joe. The number again.
920-448-4450.
Well, Joe, thank you so much for your service in the Air Force and with the Brown County Veterans Service
Well, thanks for having
Office.
me again this year.
Thank you, Joe. Always a pleasure.
Well, the Green Bay Packers have found many ways to show their appreciation for veterans.
Local 5 Samantha Petter shows us how the Green and Gold honored veterans at Huddle for Heroes.
I think it's very huge that the Packers are behind them.
This year's Huddle for Heroes event hosted more than 50 veterans and various Packers players. That included Packers running back Aaron Jones. Jones says it's an incredible event that gives his teammates a chance to meet with veterans and share experiences being in the military and growing up in a military household.
The military is very big to me. It's huge. That's pretty much my whole upbringing, and I thank the Packers for supporting the military. I think the military does a lot for our country, and it shows that it doesn't go unnoticed.
Packers football outreach manager Ryan Fensel hosted the Q&A session and feels an event like this helps bring the community closer together.
Just being able to have the players and our men and women from our armed forces who have served our country, here under one roof in a fun kind of atmosphere. We want to try and spread that appreciation to as many veterans throughout Wisconsin as we possibly can.
Veterans and players were given the opportunity to write letters to active duty military members before concluding the event with a tour of Lambeau Field. Aaron's mother also came to speak to the veterans about her struggles, and Jones was thankful for her courage to address them.
My mom said it, and I guess I can attest to it. You go to war and they don't come back the same, you know, and it's who can come back the same from that. But that's why you have support here. You have people who love you, who are here to help you.
In Green Bay, Samantha Petters, Local 5 News.
Thank you, Samantha. Aaron Jones, by the way, was also named the team's Salute to Service Award nominee.
Well, coming up, the military is often referred to as a brotherhood or a sisterhood.
And we have two veterans who look at it as a mother and daughterhood of sorts. Our Salute to Veterans special continues. Welcome back to Local 5 Salute to Veterans.
Recently, woodworkers in the Fox Valley fired up their saws and drills to make sure veterans can find purpose. Local 5's Paul Stino shares their story.
These are 31 and a half, right?
Laser focused on every detail.
Sometimes your mind can wander into a bad place, and this, I think, helps keep your mind out of that place.
For Marine veteran Patrick Glynn, who spent time in both Iraq and Afghanistan, he says woodworking has given him purpose as he's transitioned back into civilian life.
As long as you have purpose and the ability to set goals and accomplish those goals, it keeps your mind in the right place, I think.
This week, he's in Appleton at Chris McCoy's home workshop, hard at work on a workbench. The twist to the story, the workbench they are building is for Glynn.
Those guys go and they fight in a war, and sometimes they pay the ultimate sacrifice, and sometimes they come back and they are in need. So this is one way that we can help them.
The two men met at a program called the Purple Heart Project. It's for not only woodworking enthusiasts, but also for combat wounded veterans who get an all-expense trip to a woodworking class in Canada. NBA legend David Robinson is also a supporter of the program. The veterans leave with hundreds of dollars worth of free tools, and volunteers make sure that they have another woodworking essential.
This is, for a lot of those folks, just their way of saying thanks and making a contribution back, you know, and they do it very well.
Across Canada and the United States, there are 300 volunteers who make these workbenches. They are called the Bench Brigade. In Appleton, it's McCoy and his co-workers at Nestle. The wood they are using donated by Woodcraft of Appleton. McCoy says the plan is to finish up the workbench by Friday and give it to Glynn in a small private ceremony at Nestle. In Appleton, Paul Stino, Local 5 News.
Working with the hands to heal the body and the mind. I love it. Now to our next hometown heroes, a mother and daughter duo.
Caitlin Corbett joins us for a final time to share their story. Caitlin?
Yeah, Tom and Michelle, it's usually called a band of brothers, but this story is about two trailblazers in the military. Sue Sneathen joined the military at just 18 years old, and little did she know that one of her future comrades would actually be her own daughter, Kelly, showing that the apple doesn't always fall far from the tree.
It was not, hey, Ma.
It was weird.
Yeah.
Very.
I outranked her. And
yeah.
I was staff
she
sergeant,
still
she
does.
was sergeant.
For Sue and Kelly Sneathen, the military is a family affair.
There was a saying that went back, well, I graduated in 1980, so it was a while ago. Your mom wears combat boots. And then it was like a slang, you know. And I look on, yeah, she does.
Sitting in the house she was born in, Sue recalls how it all started.
I was downtown looking for a job, and I just happened to come across the recruiters. And I went in for the Air Force, but I was too short. So I was looking for the Navy, but he wasn't in. And the Army recruiter came out and said, "You looking for a job?" And I said, "Yeah, come on in."
That was in 1958, when Sue was 18. Little did she know her daughter Kelly would follow suit a few decades later, and they'd even share an office space. But not before Sue blazed the trail.
We had a bad reputation back then for women going in. But I proved them wrong. I didn't know what I was getting myself into, but I enjoyed it. I loved it, and I was very proud of it.
Traveling across the U.S. and even to Germany, what was once an 18-year-old young lady in a military uniform that featured a skirt, Sue is now a staff sergeant and the first woman to work in her unit at the Reserve Center in Green Bay.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed being military, and so I said, I'm going back. So once they opened it up, I joined and stayed for 20-some years.
And not far behind was her daughter, Kelly.
You were all for
Natural.
it.
Yeah, it's just a natural thing, you know, because I had cousins, female cousins, that did the same thing. They followed their dad or followed their mom, you know, either way, but yeah.
But unlike Mom, Kelly says things were a little different when she joined in 1981.
I was a soldier. I was not a lady. Believe me, we did not wear dresses and we didn't march a lot. We did everything the guys said. I was in the first company with female soldiers.
It all came full circle, though, when Kelly went to work in the same Green Bay Reserves unit as her mother.
It's hard remembering. You can't call her mother, and I can't call her, hey, you. She was Sergeant Sneathen, and I was Sergeant Sneathen. Yeah.
Non-traditional is tradition for the Sneathens, and they encourage other young women to be trailblazers, too.
Go do it. It gives you so much confidence.
Yeah, I would say try it. And there's so many that, well, my parents wouldn't like this, or my boyfriend wouldn't like. So what? Try it.
Mother and daughter, comrades who share a connection unlike any other.
It's a
Special.
bond that can't be broken.
Special.
Yeah, you can't break it.
Yeah.
You know, she's my best friend.
And when asked if they'd change anything,
Very, very proud. And I think we'd do it again, wouldn't we?
Oh, in a heartbeat.
In a heartbeat.
And we thank you, Sue and Kelly, and all of our Hometown Heroes for their service. For more Hometown Heroes stories, you can click on the Hometown Heroes link in the Community tab on our website, wearegreenbay.com. Tom and Michelle, back to you.
All right, Kaylin, great story. Thank you. After the break, short break, a special interview with the veteran who is in charge here at Local 5.
We'll talk with General Manager Judd Beck, a proud Navy veteran, when the Local 5 Salute to Veterans comes right back.
Salute to Veterans is proudly presented by the Wisconsin Maritime Museum, Wisconsin Drug Testing, and Emerald Bay Retirement Community and Memory Care.
And welcome back to Local 5 Salute to Veterans Special. And as we wrap up our special, we are bringing in the boss here at Local 5, our General Manager and Navy veteran, Judd Beck. Judd, thanks so much for being here. Thanks for your service. Let me start asking you, Judd, when did you serve, where did you serve, and what was your area of expertise?
So I served from roughly 87 to 91. Okay. Started off boot camp and A school, and actually then I went into the Ready Reserve and finished college and started my life and work. But my last deployment was when I got a phone call in Chicago and was told that I needed to report to Great Lakes Naval Training Center for Operation Desert Shield. And then I was deployed for first Desert Shield and then Desert Storm. In the Navy, I was a third-class petty officer, a signalman. So we were in charge of the visual watch and visual communications, so flashing light, semaphore, and things like that. And so I got deployed. I spent about 4 or 5 months, I guess, overseas, and did one complete circuit of the globe in that journey. Left Chicago, Dubai, Bahrain, Persian Gulf for, I don't know, about 3 months aboard the USS Durham, which is an amphibious assault ship. And then when the war was over, off to the Philippines, sailed around India, went to the Malacca Straits and to the Philippines, and then back to San Diego, and then back to Chicago, all the way around.
What a story.
Thank you so much for your service. As both a veteran and a civilian running a TV station, what does it mean to you to have Local 5 make the commitment it does to tell veteran stories?
Well, I mean, a great deal. I mean, listen, freedom isn't free. And what we have is unique and a beacon to the world. And it's always in danger. And without our armed forces, without our veterans, that freedom is endangered. And we live in a very, very dangerous world. So we need to elevate, celebrate, recognize, mourn with our veterans and raise them up, because we have to have their backs because they've got ours. And American steel, which is our troops, keep democracy and this great country safe. And so that's why.
Got about 30 seconds, Joe.
Yep.
What does Veterans Day mean to you, a veteran?
You know, recognition of those who gave everything, the families who gave everything. And I think it's something that I'm glad that we're doing this special. I'm glad that it's recognized, and it's so important to us. So I do believe that it's critical that we remember those days.
Well, thank you for allowing me and Tom to be a part of it.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
You're
Thank you,
Beck,
Jeb
thanks so very much.
Thank you.
And thanks to all of our servicemen and women. We thank you for your service.
And to their families, we know you're serving alongside of them in many ways. Be sure to let the veteran in your neighborhood know how much you appreciate their service. Good night, everyone, and we'll see you on Local 5 News.
Local 5 News was proud to bring you Salute to Veterans, honoring those who served. Thank you for watching.